On Earth, there are places so dangerous that humans should never enter alone. They are shaped by extreme environments, harsh natural conditions, and unpredictable risks. Whether hidden deep in forests, lost in remote oceans, or isolated far from civilization, they exist beyond safe limits. Each location reminds us how fragile humans are in the face of nature. In this video, we explore the most dangerous places humans should never face alone. La Rinconada exists as a paradox between extreme altitude and people enduring inhuman conditions just for a chance to dig gold. This place sits nearly 17,000 feet above sea level, so high that most human bodies cannot adapt naturally. Atmospheric pressure is only 50% of sea level, causing dizziness, confusion, or blackouts for those unacclimated. La Rinconada lies atop the Pacific Ring of Fire, constantly shaken by minor earthquakes and intense geological activity. The land and rivers nearby are heavily contaminated with mercury, turning this town into a trade-off between survival and gold. Fairy Meadows Road was cut along vertical cliffs at over 11,000 feet, lying in a remote and rugged mountainous region. Although only about 10 miles long, the route takes more than 2 hours to complete due to steep grades and extreme terrain. The road averages just 8 feet wide, with no guardrails, making vehicles feel suspended between sheer cliffs and bottomless drops. Some turns are as sharp as 120 degrees, requiring drivers to reverse several times while balanced on cliff edges. Elevation rises from about 8,000 to 11,000 feet, causing dizziness, fatigue, and sharp cold air against the skin. The terrain consists of weathered shale, highly prone to landslides, where unstable ground often threatens to slip or collapse without warning. Lingpaishi Road is a brutal mountain route, carved into steep cliff faces with sharp inclines and extremely limited driving space. Although only 500 feet long, it's world famous for a difficulty level that vastly outweighs its short distance. The road twists like a coiled wire with zigzag turns that demand constant steering input in an almost motionless crawl. The rocky slope is bare and jagged, making it feel more like climbing with a car than driving on solid ground. Cutting the road into the mountains exposed large geological cracks, causing stone faces to visibly shake as vehicles pass. With tightly packed hairpin bends and unforgiving terrain, it has earned the name the shortest but hardest road in the world. Tiger Leaping Gorge is one of the deepest and narrowest gorges on Earth, with cliff walls rising like massive vertical stone walls. The vertical difference between the river and mountaintops reaches around 12,500 feet, making visitors feel swallowed by stone. The river is compressed into a tight corridor, creating powerful flow and pressure strong enough to sweep away massive boulders. Located within the active Himalayan tectonic zone, the area constantly faces threats of spontaneous rockfalls, both day and night. With steep terrain, violent currents, and unstable geology, the gorge is considered extremely dangerous for any kind of tourism activity. Come to Masaya, where you can stand just feet from a living lava lake, and watch its red glow move beneath your feet. Masaya is Nicaragua's most active volcano, releasing toxic gases almost continuously since the 16th century, making the ground feel constantly alive. The crater drops about 300 feet and spans over 1,600 feet, forming a massive fire pit visible from far away. This is a basalt volcano where low viscosity lava flows easily, erupting powerfully without the explosive blasts of stratovolcanoes. Fractures around the crater help scientists track magma pressure, while acid rain allows only toxin-resistant plants to survive nearby. Historically called the Mouth of Hell, Masaya leaves a barren landscape of burned rock and poisonous fumes after violent eruptions. Nyiragongo is one of the few volcanoes on Earth with a continuously active lava lake that has lasted for many decades without interruption. The lava lake once reached nearly 2,000 feet deep, glowing beneath the crater before collapsing violently and triggering a devastating eruption. In 2002, its lava destroyed thousands of buildings and forced over 120,000 people to flee.
FIFA World Cup 26.
New Nissan. I'll put it through its paces.
Hurry into the Nissan Now sales event featuring Rogue, Pathfinder, and Frontier. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality.
New Pop-Tarts protein pastries have 10 grams of protein?
Pop-Tarts protein and 10 grams of protein? Pop-Tarts protein and 10 grams of protein!
Pop-Tarts protein with 10 grams of protein.
Snoring. Gasping.
Nyiragongo's lava can move at nearly 40 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest known lava flows on the planet. Helicopters have been used to measure the lake's depth because the ground constantly shifts and the extreme heat prevents close access. From the crater's rim, the view of glowing, swirling lava layers is both terrifying and hypnotic, like watching the Earth's core from above. Husseini Hanging Bridge is one of the most dangerous suspension bridges on Earth, hanging between sheer rock walls like a line between life and death. Located near the collision zone of the Asian and Indian tectonic plates, frequent tremors make each crossing even more dangerous. The bridge spans about 600 feet, but gaps of over 2 feet between planks force people to leap while balancing. It was originally built by locals using ropes and wood, without following any formal engineering or safety standards. Beneath the bridge flows a freezing glacial river, fed by ancient melting ice, creating a view that is both stunning and survival threatening. After years of decay and storms, this bridge stands as an ultimate test of human courage against an unforgiving natural world. Within the United States, Kilauea black sand beaches formed through direct interaction between active volcanic lava flows and the surrounding coastal environment. Unlike typical sediment beaches, the sand here is constantly renewed as fresh lava cools rapidly and breaks into fine basalt fragments. The beach surface consists of unevenly distributed basalt grains created by the continuous addition of young geological material over time. The shoreline does not remain fixed, instead changing shape as deposition and erosion processes occur simultaneously. The sandy foundation lacks long-term stability and can shift easily under the influence of waves and ocean currents. Geomorphological analysis confirms this is one of the few beaches on Earth with an extremely young geological age. Mount Hua looks like a vertical rock wall rising in central China, known for its extremely steep natural slopes. The mountain is made of ancient granite dated to about 80 million years old, shaped by strong tectonic movements. Jagged fault lines have split the terrain into steep cracks, hundreds of feet deep, making direct climbs nearly impossible. Mount Hua ranks among the 5 sacred mountains of Taoism in China, closely tied to beliefs about immortality. Some ancient structures over 1,000 years old are built right into the rock faces, preserving historic design. Several paths consist only of narrow wooden planks fixed to cliffs, requiring visitors to wear harnesses and move cautiously. Vozrozhdeniya Island was once an island between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, now widely known for becoming connected to the mainland through environmental change. During the 20th century, surrounding inland water levels dropped by more than 80%, exposing large areas of hardened seabed. The present landscape has turned into a flat, expanding landmass, with almost no natural vegetation covering the surface. During the Cold War period, this area was used for large-scale secret biological research programs. More than 26,000 square miles of water surface disappeared within a few decades, considered one of the most serious environmental disasters of the 20th century. Kuandinsky Bridge, also known as Vitim Bridge, is an abandoned railway bridge on the Baikal-Amur main line, standing isolated in the extreme cold of Siberia. The bridge is about 0.4 miles long and 6 feet wide, with no guardrails and decaying wooden planks laid over an aging steel structure. The surrounding landscape is completely empty, with no settlements, no people, no phone signal, no lights, and no navigation markers of any kind. Beneath the bridge, an icy river flows violently all year long, without permanent rescue services, making any accident immediately life-threatening. The bridge was built in the late 1980s as part of the Baikal-Amur mainline project, but was never officially put into operation. After more than 30 years without maintenance, the rotting surface has turned every crossing into a slow, dangerous balance between survival and fatal error. Los Caracoles Pass is world famous for its series of about 30 steep hairpin turns, stacked like a giant snail shell across the Andes. Driving through these bends feels like entering a vertical stone maze, where every human reflex is constantly tested. Located at about 10,500 feet, the pass makes you tire quickly, lose oxygen, slow your reactions, and risk losing mental control.
Can you believe that Food Lion guarantees that all of this is 100% fresh or double your money back? Like I need it. It's so fresh. Tomatoes, greens, and cookies. It's about balance, Meg. This bag is filled with just cookies.
Persil's fabric care ingredient helps protect colors for
Big day! Wash with Persil.
Confidence is not a mindset, it's an achievement. In the GMC Sierra HD AT4X, just announced, get 4.9% APR plus 500 purchase cash on Sierra heavy-duty models.
Booking.com has all kinds of stays, because some love a rustic cabin. Others feel differently. Find exactly what you're booking for. Booking.com, booking.yeah.
Something amazing is happening here. More companies are turning to Mac.
Its terrain was shaped by the powerful uplift of the Andes, forcing humans to bend the road along the mountain instead of flattening it. The surrounding landscape is almost completely empty, with only grey rock, white snow, and a deep sense of cold pressing inward. Since 2010, international adventure travel media and mountain driving communities have recognized it as one of the most dangerous mountain passes on Earth. Congo River is not just a waterway. It is an ancient living structure with the power to govern life and erase all traces of humans. With depths reaching 720 feet and massive discharge, the river does not just drown. It crushes anything caught at the wrong moment. Stretching nearly 3,000 miles, it slices through rainforest, forming a wet, narrow corridor where retreat is not an option. In the deep black mud, catfish over 7 feet long glide silently through water, stripped of both light and oxygen. Formed by continental collision and collapse, the unstable riverbed can shift or explode like a wild artery without warning. During the full expedition, from 1874 to 1877, 132 people died from malaria, exhaustion, or were swept away and never found. Sundarban spans about 4,000 square miles and is the largest mangrove forest on Earth, where land and water blend into uncontrolled chaos. It is the only place on Earth where wild tigers live in salty water, hunt while swimming, and hide within swampy forest. Each year, this region absorbs and releases millions of tons of carbon, but remains extremely fragile to rising seas and constant erosion. The forest was formed from thousands of years of river sediment. But the soft, salty ground ruins buildings through decay, collapse, or lightning. Some areas become fully submerged just 15 minutes after tide surges, with no warning and no place to seek safety. With up to 60 human deaths per year from tiger attacks, Sundarbans remains one of the most dangerous wild zones near any human settlement. Chernobyl Exclusion Zone stands as a living monument to human catastrophe, where the most severe nuclear reactor explosion of the 20th century occurred. Even decades later, some locations still record radiation levels tens of thousands of times above what is safe for humans. Trees grow in distorted forms with bent trunks and uneven rings, caused by long-term genetic damage from radiation exposure. Even though large animals have returned, the soil remains poor in microbes, causing decomposition to proceed at an extremely slow pace. More than 130,000 people were permanently evacuated in 1986, leaving entire settlements completely abandoned. On cold concrete walls, radioactive dust lingers as faint layers, marking the final traces of a civilization abruptly erased. Poison Garden is the most dangerous botanical garden in the United Kingdom, where every beautiful flower hides a silent risk of death. Aconitum plants here contain aconitine, a deadly neurotoxin that can kill someone in just a few hours with a tiny amount. To prevent accidents, the entire garden is enclosed with iron fences, almost 13 feet tall, and monitored constantly. More than 100 poisonous plants grow here, many of which are banned in most countries around the world. The garden was opened in 2005 by a duchess who wanted to awaken fear through the deadly beauty of nature. Visitors must sign a waiver before entering, as one person was hospitalized after unintentionally coming into contact with a toxic plant. Oymyakon sits deep within the Siberian interior, nearly 600 miles from any sea, making it unreachable by warm oceanic air masses. The valley's unique shape forms a natural cold trap where dense frigid air settles and remains locked close to the ground for extended periods. Beneath the village lies a permafrost layer reaching nearly 3,000 feet, complicating every aspect of construction, burial, and underground utility systems. Residents live by the limited light cycle, waking with the sunrise around 10 o'clock and retreating indoors before 3 in the afternoon. Oymyakon stands as one of the planet's harshest inhabited places, a cold desert where human survival depends on relentless adaptation and mental endurance. Yungas Road is a terrifying mountain route clinging to vertical cliffs more than 2,000 feet above the deep valley below. In 1983, a deadly bus crash that killed over 100 people turned it into a symbol of death.
Zero % artificial colors or flavors, 100% delicious waffles.
La Roche-Posay Double Repair Face Moisturizer helps strengthen moisture back.
You gotta put it through its paces.
Hurry into the Nissan Now sales event featuring Rogue, Pathfinder, and Frontier. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality.
16 of the sexiest singles will find love on this yacht, or what the blank behind me.
This is insane.
A real tool isn't made for a moment, but for the years that follow.
The scenery is both breathtaking and dangerous, with fog, waterfalls, and rockfalls happening inches from passing vehicles. The downhill bike tour stretches over 40 miles, with a height drop of more than 11,000 feet, and draws thousands of thrill seekers each year. The road was built in the 1930s by prisoners of war and includes sections only 10 feet wide with no guardrails. Every sharp turn feels like a gamble with life and death, where the abyss waits just beyond the edge. The Drakensberg Traverse follows a sharp mountain spine for over 140 miles, with an average elevation of about 9,800 feet above sea level. Vertical basalt cliffs, formed millions of years ago, create sheer rocky edges that are slick and lack any protective rails. Some sections require crossing loose stones and holding onto old ropes, where one mistake can send hikers down cliffs over 500 feet deep. Due to the extreme remoteness, shelters are only caves or temporary tents, with no permanent support infrastructure anywhere. Many steep sections force hikers to climb rope ladders over 100 feet high, dangling against smooth and wet rock faces. In this merciless terrain, missing persons have remained undiscovered for weeks as the landscape erases both footprints and voices. Off the coast of Belize, the Great Blue Hole appears as a giant ocean sinkhole over 400 feet deep in the turquoise Caribbean Sea. It was once a dry limestone cave formed more than 15,000 years ago before collapsing when sea levels rose. Steep rock walls and fading light after 100 feet create a dark, suffocating space that feels like diving into the unknown. Below 300 feet, the water has no oxygen and is filled with hydrogen sulfide gas that can kill all living creatures. The Blue Hole dive is rated extremely difficult and only for expert divers with more than 25 deep-sea dives. So never dive here alone. It can cause disorientation, panic, and even stop you from ever reaching the surface again. Haiku Stairs, also known as the Stairway to Heaven, is a metal staircase climbing a steep mountain ridge and remains one of the most haunting places in the United States. The metal stairway has about 4,000 steps, rising nearly 3,000 feet, without any safety railings on the sides. On both sides are vertical drops over 1,000 feet, and when fog appears, the whole staircase seems to vanish into thin air. Haiku Stairs includes extreme inclines with some sections almost vertical, giving you the feeling of climbing into the sky.